been a long road since the original Kicker christened that first pickup truck. It kicked off a car audio renaissance, and upgrading your music in a vehicle was a requirement. America's music machines became living loud over your passion, your emotion, your existence. Outdoors or on the open road, your sound is Kicker.
It's the Kip and Dave Show.
No excitement.
Are you ready?
22. We're doing it one more time. We're going to do another one. We're going to do this right this time.
Weeka.
Check. I'm Smeatlish.
Camera adds 27 pounds.
Okay.
It just seems like a abrupt it's just
kind of, yeah.
This is Dave.
And Kip.
Come check us out. This is Kip.
And Dave.
And I got it wrong again. And we're going to have to do this again because we went down a different trail. Until then, this is Dave.
And Kip.
Come check us out. Come check us out.
Yeah.
Wiki.
I think that's good.
Just pick one. God, I hate the ending. There's no way to end this.
Just say, come see us. Just come see us. And just come see us.
So.
Come see us at the two locations.
God, it just seems so hard.
Oh, howdy. Delmar Hogwallop here, coming to you from outside Mildred's Bait Shop and Lingerie. Want to appreciate you all coming, giving a look-see in on the Kicker Unmasked show. Those folks at Kicker, salt of the earth, make some of the finest gear ever tickle your ear. So, mighty fine of you to come take some time off and check them out. And remember, whether you're looking for night crawlers or nighties, Mildred's is your place. So once again, hey, son, put down that armadillo and get some pants on. Oh, my Lord, kids.
Music is my passion, my livelihood, and it's in my DNA. My pals at Kicker Marine Audio gave me a chance to take the music, what I love and listen to, at home, on stage, and in the car, onto the water. Hi, this is Jason Bonham, and I want to say a big thank you to my friends at Kicker Audio for inspiring the songs and the stories behind the music that inspires America. Go overboard!
The Kicker Quad Box is the most insane, ground-pounding, bass-head-loving, preloaded subwoofer enclosure we have ever offered. It consists of 4 L7R 12-inch subwoofers. It has a total power handling of 2,400 watts RMS, and it's tuned at an amazing 31 hertz. Here to tell us more about it is Kicker's very own Jeremy Brown.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Brown. I've been with Kicker for 22 years. I work in the research and development department. In the early 2000s, I would run the Gates Bronco at shows like Daytona. We would do hair tricks, 48 10-inch subwoofers with 48 1,000 watt amplifiers. Really big build back in that day. We were able to develop some high output enclosures that were up above the 170 dB mark. We set a few world records with some of those enclosure designs and our woofers. We learned a lot about high output enclosure designs during that time, and we've been able to bring that to our product lines today. Within the last year, we introduced a new subwoofer enclosure with 4 L7R12s that we call the Quad Box. Our Quad Box is built out of 3/4 inch birch. It's got a 1.5 inch baffle and a 1.5 inch bottom. We also use window frame bracing along with corner bracing to make the enclosure more rigid. We use a flared port to reduce port noise and increase port surface area. This type of vent design helps maximize output. We use the L7R 12-inch subwoofers because this allows you to use one KXA 2400.1 amplifier, and you still get big bass with fewer upgrades to your charging system. The KICKER Quad Box is the bass head starter kit, and if you're worried, it plays way below 40 hertz.
Do not attempt to adjust this transmission. We have assumed control.
The year is 1980. Music fights for its very survival in an acoustically desolate wasteland man calls automobile. Enter Steve Irby, a man whose love of music helped end this scourge forever and forge a path for modern car audio to follow. A humble musician with a passion for quality sound, Mr. Irby is a man who feels it is his destiny to provide a sanctuary for mobile audio. Welcome. Join us this evening as we venture back to the very night a young Steve Irby gains his inspiration to create the legacy we know today as KICKER Performance Audio. Though he does not realize it now, by this time tomorrow, Mr. Irby will have completed blueprints for the original KICKER and champion the war against mobile audio inequality. Tonight, Mr. Irby's prayers will be answered as he begins his quest into the Q Zone. KICKER L7QB8. With roots dating back to KICKER's inception, Mr. Irby and his team of engineers have achieved an unrivaled level of design and functionality. With extraordinary bass and a minimal footprint, the L7QB8 utilizes a seamless 1/4 inch extruded aluminum housing, allowing optimal internal air volume for the subwoofer. This exclusive design provides exceptional strength and stability. Like the original KICKER, the L7QB8 incorporates a unique passive radiator to minimize required airspace while optimizing the efficiency and frequency response of the subwoofer. Opposite the passive radiator, the L7QB8 is equipped with the all-new 8-inch L7 square subwoofer. The 2016 L7 features an aluminum basket for exceptional strength and thinned aluminum heat sinks for efficient heat dissipation. KICKER's blue lace spider, solo cone 360-degree back bracing, and a laser-etched cone brace combine as a single ultra-rigid unit. The result is increased clarity, higher volume, and added reliability. The square cone features over 20% more surface area than round subwoofers. It's attached to a Santoprene surround, then stitched to the cone for long life and durability. This surround features KICKER's patented ribbed corners, which fully dictates cone motion and extends surround life.
At the base of the unit, a pair of custom formed flanges integrate seamlessly with an extremely low-profile mounting system, consisting simply of a mounting plate and bar. Once installed, the overall height of the enclosure is only 9.5 inches. This profile is small enough to work perfectly in countless trucks, sedans, and SUVs. Once again, KICKER sets a new standard with the groundbreaking design and unparalleled performance of the all-new L7 QB8.
Mic check. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Good audio?
Good audio.
Thank you.
This is where KICKER started, right here in this garage right back here. It was a great place, but just a little bit small. And after about 6 months, actually, we got kicked out of here. My wife said there's entirely too much sawdust seeping into the house from the garage. But this was the beginning right here in the garage on 1412 Eastern Street in this little house. Okay, here we are at KICKER location number 2 down on South Main Street in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And this is the little house that we moved into after we got kicked out of the garage. Here we are at KICKER location number 3. We spent about 7 or 8 years in this place. We moved from the little house right over here into the Quonset when we ran out of space. We had about 35 employees. Here we are, KICKER location number 4. This is up on top of the hill. It's a little bit windy here. But we spent the years from 1989 until about 2006 here, until we moved into our new facility.
this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Am I caught in a landslide? No escape from reality? I open my eyes and look up to the sky and see it's Tuesday night, 7:30, right here on the Kicker Facebook and YouTube channels. Welcome everyone, Kicker Unmasked Live Weekly. I'm your host, Kip Litzy. Thanks for joining us this evening. We try to kick things off right at 7:30 so we can get going. Try to wrap all this up in that short 90-minute window. Thank you all for joining us this evening. I'm going to give a little shout out to my buddy Tim behind the camera. He's doing some busy work. I need you to start that clock for me, Tim, so I can at least try to be on some kind of a schedule, although of all the people here at Kicker who don't know how to look at a clock, I'm the worst offender. So, we try to keep it there. That's why I'm so good at trying to stay on the clock, because I'm usually not on the clock at all. Anyone who's been here and done a tour with me knows that time just kind of evaporates really fast. We got a lot of things we're going to talk about tonight. First thing out of the gate, I got a long list of things here on my pad to talk about. We call it the housekeeping, get those things out of the way. And we got some cool things we're going to throw into housekeeping tonight. I think you're going to love them. First thing is contest. If you're new to the show tonight, thanks for tuning in. If this is your second or 26th time to tune in to Kicker Unmasked Live Weekly, because this is show number 26, man, time flies, we do a contest every Tuesday night just for the people tuning into the show. To enter that contest, you've probably seen it scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It's actually kicker.fun / let me look here, thin is in. So that's the link for tonight's show. It's kicker.fun / thin is in. That link is live now. It's been live since 7:15. It'll run until 8:30 Central Time. So you have from now until 8:30 Central Time to go and enter that contest. We will then pull the winners and announce the winners before we sign off shortly before 9 o'clock. The exciting news along with that is, don't forget that we also have the MTI Enclosure contest that's currently running. That's a month-long contest. We kicked it off 2 weeks ago with our good friends from MTI, or actually a week ago. Sorry, I'm thinking of another show. A week ago, we kicked it off with MTI Acoustics, and they are giving away one of their Stage 3 enclosures to a lucky winner out there, and it's going to come loaded with your choice of KICKER CompRT or L7T subwoofers. So if you haven't entered that contest, please, you need to go hit that link as well. And I know Bill will put it up at the bottom of the screen. I'm just checking my notes here to see what that link is, and that link is actually /truck base. So it's kicker.fun /truck base, and that's the form or the link to go enter the form for the MTI Acoustics Enclosure Contest. If you didn't see that show, obviously it's in our YouTube feed. You can go check that feed out anytime. All of our Unmasked Live shows are on our YouTube channel. And the reason we've decided to do this show is kind of butted up right against the MTI, is the MTI was a show on, really custom enclosures that those guys do, primarily focused on crew cab trucks, although they do some other things, and they can actually build whatever you want. But the MTI Acoustics that's ready to go, it really focuses on that crew cab. They're very custom, very high-end, sound fantastic. Go check out the feed if you haven't. Be sure to enter the contest, because we're going to be giving one of those away first Tuesday next month when we have the drawing, when we have Jim come back and join us, and we do that drawing with MTI Acoustics. Last thing, I know there are some people in the feed, and they're like, I like to call them the Velvet Hammer. They remind y'all. But man, as you know, this show that we don't do it for monetization. I'll get the word out. We simply do this, and we have a two-way conduit to show you guys all the cool things happening to Kicker, products, bring guests on. But if you can just smash the thumbs up button out the door, if the content is relevant to you and you enjoyed the show, smashing that thumbs up button is just a way for us to track that people did enjoy the content. It doesn't help us make any money because it's not monetized. It just lets us know you like the content. And as always, if there's anything you'd like to see on future shows, be sure you reach out to social@kicker.com. That gets you straight in touch with Bill Frog. He's the guy in charge of our social media. He kind of corrals all that information together, so be sure you check that out. Hey, Rob McLeod 3, thumbs up for everyone. Hit the thumbs up, guys and gals. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for that shout out. Yeah, just hit that thumbs up. You don't have to do it now. You can do it on the way out the door. If you really didn't like the content, man, you can hit the thumbs down button too. It's a way for us to judge what we're doing here and that you guys are enjoying the show. So we sure appreciate your time and doing that. It only takes a second, and we do appreciate it. Good evening from Georgia, Stephen Durow. Hopefully I got that right, Stephen. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm going to look down at my notepad here because we do have a lot of things to discuss. I actually made me some notes tonight to keep us on track. Remember, we like to bring this up every time. If you are from across the border to the north in Canada, you now qualify for any of our drawings that we do here on Kicker Unmasked Live Weekly. So, initially we couldn't get it was just domestic U.S. We are working, and as we add other countries, we'll add them to the mix. But right now it's just Canada. So, and that's courtesy of our friends up in Jemson in Canada. They are a distributor to the north that handles all Kicker products up there. So if you're from the north and you have questions about where to get Kicker products or where to find a dealer or anything, reach out to Jemsen, and it's spelled just like it sounds, Gemsen. You can find their website. They'd love to give you any information, help you need if you're north of the border, and they work with us to make sure you get your prize here from Kicker Unmasked Live Weekly. If you do win and you're from north of the border, just give us a little grace. It takes a little more time to get your prize up there, but you're going to get it. So thanks for joining us on that. Canada A, what has shipped? So I got a bunch of paper here tonight, folks. Hey, Ernie, will you bring up real quick, it's the Unmasked Live Weekly. Will you bring that up on the screen real fast? I know everybody out there in the land probably has seen it already, but it's actually the contest for tonight. Can you bring that up? So anyone who's been on the show more than once knows that I typically approach this that you guys don't know what the prizes are because I've never gone and looked at this link, and I've just started going and looking at the link recently. And so that you guys have an idea, obviously our third place and second place tonight, you're going to get a set of those EB300s, a set of those Kicker koozies, and of course a limited edition Kicker Unmasked Live t-shirt. But first place tonight is really cool. It's going to be your choice of any loaded enclosure from the CompRT, the L7T, the TRTP, which that's the downfiring RT, the CompVT, or Comp lines. And I threw in at the last minute, I know it's not on the screen because this is actually the link that Bill put together tonight, but I'm actually throwing the CompRTB boxes in that. We'll discuss those a little bit later in the show and you'll see why. It's not a thin mount or necessarily an under seat enclosure, but it's very unique and I felt it kind of fit the theme of the show we're doing tonight, so I've included that in the drawing tonight. So that's going to be your choice of prizes if you're the first place winner. And of course, as always, you're going to get one of the limited edition black Kicker Unmasked tees. We still have some of those to give away. Until we run out of those, we're going to keep those as a first place prize only. And of course, you're also going to get a set of koozies because you got to keep your beverage chilled when you're watching Kicker Unmasked Live Weekly. So that takes care of that. Moving that down the pile. We've already touched upon the MTI drawing. Don't forget that. That is a fantastic contest that Jim and the guys at MTI have agreed to do with us. Please go enter that and register for that contest. Even for Life, Dragons for Kicker. Thank you, sir. Now, for those of you who have been tuning in from the original Unmasked event we did, it wasn't called Unmasked Live Weekly when we did the first event, it was just Unmasked Live. We did a lot of giveaways on that original Unmasked Live show, and it was our replacement for not going to SEMA. And the cool part about it is, you know, we didn't do the show just for dealers and reps. We actually opened the doors up and we showed everything behind the scenes that you guys as consumers wouldn't normally have seen for another 6 to 8 months down the road when that product actually becomes available. So it was fun. We had a great time doing it. And yes, we're going to release new products to you on this show as they become available. Products that you don't even know about yet, we're going to release them here on Unmasked Live Weekly. So stay tuned for that. When we have those special launch events, Bill will promote those through all the social channels. But from that original show, you know, people may be asking, you know, what prizes? We told everyone in the beginning, these are prizes of things we don't even have in the barn yet because they're brand new products. So we've actually sent out quite a few of those products. We've been very fortunate to get a lot of those things in over the last several months. You know, the current trend in the world, you know, slow shipping, there's a lot of slowness. It's like putting, you know, sludge in the motor. Doesn't run as fast as you want it to, but it's still running. It's running pretty well for us. But I want to touch on two things. We've got things that have shipped. Everything else is shipped. Products and for later. So these are the latest deliveries. So out of all those items from the original Unmasked show, these are some that we have just shipped in the last week or so. And so you've either already received it if you're watching, or you're going to get it pretty soon. And that would be the 48 CDF 124. That's the downfiring comp box in a 4-ohm. Melanie Cooper, David Dunkerson, and Ryan Blake. Those were the 3 winners of that product. So your product's on the way. If you haven't got it yet, you'll be getting it soon, but that product has shipped and it's out the door heading your direction. So we want to congratulate those 3 winners from the original Unmasked Live episode. And along with that, we've got the 48 VC VR 122, which that's the vented 12-inch enclosure in 2-ohm out of the CVR line. And the winners for that were Sean Hubbard, Joe Hurst, and David Velez. Hopefully I pronounced his last name correctly. It's V-E-L-E-Z. Apologize if I got that wrong, David. But those are actually out the door and shipped. So there are 6 more prizes that have headed out the door from the original Unmasked show. One to touch base and let everybody know that that's happened. And then what's left? Melanie Cooper. I got my prize last week. Thank you. Hey, thanks, Melanie. Glad to see you got your prize. And then we do have a list of stuff here that has not shipped yet. And these are things that are still not quite in the barn. If you're one of the winners for one of these prizes, as soon as it gets in the barn here, we're going to ship your prize out to you. But to give you an update, if you're and I'll have a little fun when I get to it. The 47 KPB1 and the KBP2, the power bars, those have not shipped yet because they're not available. Those should be shipping soon. If I'm not lying, I'm pretty sure we actually have a shipment of those that's actually on the water. It may actually have reached port already. Shipping's been a little slow, getting things off port. The whole thing's slow right now, but I do know that we've got the first batches of those coming. So the winners of the KBP1 and the KBP2, you should be getting those soon. So excited? We are for you as well. The KSMT2504, that's the mid-tweeter pod. Those are not available yet. The CVT DF122, that's the CompVT downfiring. That's not available yet. The 48 KSS269, that's the two-way 6x9 component system with the 2 3/4 inch middler. Those are probably going to be here soon, and we'll be able to get those prices out to you on that product. So those are coming but haven't shipped yet. The TRTP 122, still waiting on that, hasn't shipped. We have 3 winners out there waiting for that. Once again, as soon as those products arrive, we'll get those shipped out and to you. And last but certainly not least, but I did save it for last for a reason, is the KXMA 905. That's the 5-channel, new 5-channel marine amplifier, 900 watt. And I know one of the 4 winners is Robert Van Hoy, RVH. And Robert, your amp, hopefully sometime soon. Not going to give you a date because I don't want to lie to anyone, but we're looking at possibly getting in marine amplifiers sometime here very, very soon. Both the KX and the KXMAs. And of course, you're waiting for the KXMA 905. So Robert, the other 3 winners, hang tight. They'll be here soon. But just letting you know, there was a lot of winners out of that first Unmasked show, and a lot of people have already got their prizes, but this is what's left, and we will keep you updated here on the show to let you know what shipped and what's left. So that gets that off of the books. Some cool news, and I got to give props out to, you know, a lot of you out there. If you've met Roger Demery, he actually plays the character that Delmar, and he said, you know, this part of the section you need to give it a cool name. And I said, well, what do you think, Roger? And we're talking back and forth. He says, this is what it needs to be. It's Kip's Big Deal. What the deal tonight is? This is the Kip Big Deal. So this is for you, Roger, if you're watching. It's Kip's Big Deal. Ernie, if you could bring up the first slide that I've got labeled Patent 1 and put that up on the screen real quick. And what we wanted to let you guys know tonight, it's pretty cool that we're doing tonight's show on the thin mount, the under seat or the rear seat enclosures. Just got information tonight that we actually were awarded the patent that we applied for. And this is on the downfiring TRTP enclosures that we manufacture. Ernie, there you go, moving it. You can see these are line drawings that are included in the patent. I thought they were kind of cool. You could kind of see these as they're going by. But we did apply for a patent on this. Mr. Irby, Aaron Surratt, and I will look here. There's another gentleman who's listed. His name's on the patent, and that would be Justice. Is it David Justice? And David Justice. I couldn't forget the last one. David, if you're watching, I apologize. I knew there were 3. I just didn't know you were the 3rd one on the list. No. Who?
Daniel S. Barkell.
Daniel. Not David, Daniel. So hey, we just made 2 mistakes. That's what happens when you do shows live, folks. So anyhow, yeah, Daniel S. Barkell. So Steve Irby, Aaron Surratt, and Daniel are the 3 names listed on the patent, and that's pretty darn cool that we got that. When we get to that part in the show where we're talking about the TRTPs, you'll see some of the cool things we do with that enclosure, what we do inside for that. But I thought it was really interesting. I wanted to share with you guys that we actually got. I just found out today that it was issued, and we got our patent on that. So that is really cool stuff right there. Another thing, I can't share everything out of the letter, but I'm going to give you some of the insight on it. This is actually a Kicker dealer newsletter that we send out to all our dealers, distributors, and reps. And I thought there was some cool information in here, and I wanted to touch upon it because we're letting the cat out of the bag. So shipping soon. So we kind of talked about products that we're shipping. This is actually a list of products that we just sent out to our dealers in a blast letter. And so, you know, I'm just going to go through the list real quick. The 48 TRTP 122 is going to be shipping soon. The 48 TRTP 82, that's going to be shipping soon. 48 KMA series amplifiers. Didn't I just talk about those with Robert Van Hoy? Interesting. Those should be shipping soon. The PSM3s, that is the 3-inch mini speakers that go on the, you know, you can use them, they're primarily for the handlebars of a bike, but you can put them on anything that'll fit. Those will be shipping soon as well. And that's soon. These are going to be shipping soon. Currently shipping, just go down the list real fast because this will kind of update you. The Comp 48 CWRT 122 and 102s and 672s are all shipping. the CWR 122 and 124, the CWR 102 and 104, and of course that's a 10-inch 2-ohm, 4-ohm driver, so you know. The CWR 82 and 84, so that's an 8-inch and 2-ohm and 4-ohm, they're shipping. The TCWRT 122 enclosure is shipping. The TCWRT 102 enclosure is shipping. The TCWRT 672 enclosure is shipping. The DCWR 122 and 102, so that's the dual comp enclosures, CompR enclosures, those are shipping as well. The VCWR 122, so that's the single 12 vented CompR enclosure, that one is shipping. The, well, it already says the handlebar speakers are shipping. So why does it say it twice? Yeah, it says, oh, it's a 4-ohm, so these are the 2-ohm. So the 2-ohms are already shipping, the 4-ohm is going to be shipping soon, got it. And then of course the VK6 and the VK8, those are our value power wire kits, 100% copper, not CCA wire, 100% copper wiring kits. Those are shipping as well. So this is in our dealer newsletter, but I thought it was kind of cool to be able to share that information with you guys. Obviously, you tune into the show, you get a lot more of the hands-on information that we can talk about here. So I thought I would share that information with you, let you know that product. As you've been watching the show, if any of those are things you've been waiting on or you're still waiting on, it gives you an idea when those are going to be available in the pipeline. And then, Ernie, there's a little event we do up in Manhattan, Kansas that's moved over to Topeka, Kansas, and it's called the KICKER Country Stampede. Would you mind throwing that logo up on the screen for me? Thank you, sir. If you haven't caught the last couple shows, we've been promoting this. This is actually a huge country music festival that KICKER title sponsors. This will be number 8. Last year got pulled because of the year of the COVID, but it got pulled last year. But we're back this year. It's in Topeka, Kansas at the Heartland Raceway. It is a fantastic event. If you're into great sounding music, if you like hanging out with your friends outdoors, watching a 1,000,000-watt soundstage that sounds incredible, checking out all the action from the KICKER XRV, this will be the second live event that as a company we've actually been out in the field for the second time in 18 months. First one was Lake Havasu, which was 3 weeks ago. So if you're a guy or a gal who likes great sounding country music and a good time outdoors hanging with friends, you need to go to countrystampede.com. Check it out. All the information is there. And then stay tuned to KICKER Unmasked, because I think we're going to find a way to give away something. Tickets, maybe some special tickets, not quite sure yet. But we're going to find a way to give out a special prize to some lucky Unmasked Live weekly viewers right here on the show. So go check out the event. It's going to be a good time. Hope you come up there and join us, and maybe we'll find a way to get a couple lucky people to come join us. Have a good time up there. So that's it there. Remember, next week we are going to have part 2 of the wire demo. We did the wire demo, that was 3 weeks ago now, I think. Time flies, it was either 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And the wire demo show, we showed the capabilities of 8-gauge wire, solid copper versus copper covered aluminum. We showed the capabilities of 4-gauge wire, solid copper versus copper covered aluminum. Next week, we're going to set up, we're going to do the 1-aught demo. We got something planned. I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to make a lot of you ask a lot of questions, I think, and it's going to be a really, really good show. You'll want to tune into that one. That's going to be next week. And we'll probably redo the 4-gauge demo again just because we've had some people ask some questions. So we'll probably hit on that one there. But another topic that I know is on everyone's minds, and Ernie, I hope you're ready for this, because what I want to do is I want to go to the secret videos, the really secret videos. You know, a lot of you know that we talked about on the original Unmasked, and we've had updates on it along the way, is the new L7X driver, which is part of the Solo X family. And I had an opportunity today. They actually had an L7X12 in a cabinet, and they were doing some testing on it and some listening tests and things. So I actually ran down with my phone and I shot some quick video of this thing, and I want Ernie to roll that right now, or any second he can get that going. But this is actual footage that I shot down in the lab this afternoon of an L7X12. And it's just, right now it's playing, I can't remember what song, I think I queued up Bass Mechanic or something like that. And I think this is actually the slow-mo footage that Ernie's playing right now, showing what's going on there. And so here it is. This is an actual L7X driver in the wild being tested. And everyone's asking, when's this product going to be available? When are we going to see it? We're all excited. Understand, guys, we really let the cat out of the bag early on this driver because we wanted you to know what we were working on and what we're doing. And this is going to be a fantastic high output, high SPL, big bass subwoofer. And it's coming. It's going to be later in this year. We keep saying third quarter. We're going to look at some updated information and see if we can get a little firmer time we can let you guys know, because I know there's a lot of people asking when's it going to be available. We've had people ask, is there going to be any kind of pre-order? We're considering all that. You know, if we're going to offer a pre-order, we'll definitely want to do something here through the show, because all this information comes to you first right here on Kicker Unmasked Live Weekly. So keep that in mind. But that is some test footage of the new L7X. We are so close, we can almost taste it. That's the 12. As you know, those are going to be available in a 10, a 12, and a 15 when we launch them initially. And again, our current target, we're looking at third quarter this year, but we're probably going to come back in another week or so and have an update and try to give you some more firm information as far as when that driver is actually going to be available. But it's for real, and it actually works, and it's pretty phenomenal. When I was down there shooting the video this afternoon, there was a whole bunch of people came down the hallway going, "What the heck are you doing?" I'm just, well, I'm just trying to make it work and get some cool video about it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Rob McLeod, I'm going to, oh, this is good. I got to bring this up. Okay, Rob McLeod 3, 18-inch, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark? Well, Rob, you know, this show is a two-way conduit. And when we first announced that we were going to do the L7X family, we let everyone know it was going to be a 10, a 12, and a 15, and that's what we had planned. And there was a lot of feedback. I mean, people asked for different sizes. They, are you going to do it in an 8? Are you going to do it in a 6.5? Are you going to do it in an 18? Well, Rob, you know, we have a habit of listening, and if we think there's enough interest in something, we're going to take it under advisement. And so, is there going to be an 18? I don't know. I'd stay tuned to the show and find out, because if we're going to have one, we'll announce it right here on the show. That was my patented wink. This one here is good. Deviant for life. Andy needs an 18. Yes, Andy McGill always needs an 18. That's his thing. Mike Craner, here we go. Yeah, but you don't know what the wink means. I didn't tell you we're making an 18. I just gave you the patented wink. I mean, who knows? Who knows? And then, of course, I saw him up here. This is funny. El Fuego wink, 18 is coming. I don't know, El Fuego. It is the patented wink, but is the 18 coming? I don't know. Could be. I mean, the original Solo X back in 2002, when we launched that? 02, 01, 03? It was in that time frame. Man, we had an 18 then. I don't know. Maybe an 18 is a good idea. We'll have to see. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Here's a good one from Craft Chest. The 18s come out, I'll run them. Ooh, Craft Chest. You must want to run an 18. Maybe we should look at making one. RVH needs an 18 as well. Here's a good one. I'll bring this one up. This is from Wade Hensley. I mean, if an 18-inch is available, I'll use that instead of the 15. Well, you know, bigger is better, I guess. So if we have an 18, you can certainly run that. Invite me, Kicker. Lots of great comments up here. Eek, so excited. Any other, hey, you guys have any other comments you want to put up? They're in the back. You got any? Throw them up. No RVH, you don't need one. There's a lot of chat going on between you guys in the room there. I'm just looking at my laptop here so I can see if there's any other comments to bring up here. Okay, I'm going to assume, hey, John, I hope I get your last name right, Drozd or Drozd? Hope I get Q question mark. I'm assuming you're asking what third quarter means, or third Q. I'm going to assume that's what you're asking. It means the last, or the second to last 3 months of this. So January, February, March is Q1. April, May, June is Q2. July, August, September is Q3. So July, August, September, that's the time frame that we've targeted. But we'll have an update on that. If not next week, it'll be the week after. We'll have at least what the current information is we have on that. I'm just looking through the comments here to see if there's anything else that we need to put up here. I'd love to show that comment. I'll probably get in trouble if I show that comment. That's a good comment though. I love that comment. I want to show that comment. I want to show that comment right there, but I can't. I love that comment though. Putting a 15 in my SUV. Hey, here's Wade Hensley. Putting a 15 in my SUV, can't wait. Yeah, I mean, looking at that driver, I mean, I know it's hard to describe what I heard and saw in the room while I was there in the testing, but that driver is strong. It's deep. It's got plenty of travel. You're looking at that 12. It's 3 and some change as far as how much stroke that driver's capable of from peak to peak. I want to say 3 1/4, I think is the actual number. It might be 3 1/8, 3 1/4. It's right in there. It's just a shade over 3. It's a fantastic driver. It's going to be, there's a lot of excitement for it, and it's easy to see why, with the L7X coming back to, kind of take the place of the old original Solo X. What will 1 equal to? I'll close my eyes. I'm trying to keep up with the comment feed. There's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, I got to show. I'll close my eyes. What was the 12? How about a bearded Solo X? Yeah, maybe we could do that, although I wouldn't play the Solo X with Beardy on it. I think it'd be a little crazy about that. Here we go. I got to get this. Living Loud with Andy. All this talk about an 18 sounds like you have to make one now, Kip. Well, I don't actually make the drivers. I'm just in charge of keeping the secrets. And as you understand, it's not that I can't keep a secret. It's the people I tell. I tell people, and they just go tell everybody. So it's not my fault that I can't keep a secret. It's everybody I tell. So, we'll see on that, Andy. I think you're right. I think Steve and the guys back there in R&D, I think an 18 is going to need to be on the books. Here's one here. Hey, Kip, what are the best RCA ends you can buy for making them yourselves? Matster 831. Well, Matster, I don't really want to throw a name out. And when you say best, that can be a controversial question. Let me say it this. All metal RCA ends have always been considered the premium RCA end, and for lots of reasons. They're usually bigger, they're heavier, they typically have that weight and feel of jewelry that people like to see in a cable. But I will say in today's cars, if you're using an RCA cable and then at the other end you're actually tying directly into the factory radio or factory amplifier, meaning you're using the speaker leads, which is how all Kicker amplifiers work. We have balanced differential inputs. So when you take that speaker wire and connect it to an RCA cable like ours, now you have an RCA plug where the center pin is actually speaker positive and that outside shell is actually speaker negative. You have to be really careful if you're using those all-metal RCAs, because if you're doing a situation like that, the last thing you want to happen is that outside shield or outside part of that RCA to touch vehicle chassis ground while the radio or amplifier is on, because you could damage the factory radio or factory amplifier. And that's where, in a lot of cases, and that's like in our Kissels, we actually do the rubber-coated or over-molded end so that if that end touches or lays down on chassis, you don't have to worry about that grounding out. So even though all metal ones seem to have the perception that they're better just because they're all metal, don't discount ones that have a rubber overmold or a rubber coat, because they are good at keeping that outer RCA insulated. The thing you want to look for, I'll tell you that if you're going to buy your own ends and do it, the 2 most important things I would look for is a split center pin, and that's your the pin coming out the middle of the RCA. Instead of being solid, you want to have a split pin, either a single split or dual split. Take your choice. Those split center pins, what's cool about those is they actually exert a little bit of outward force, so when you plug them into the female RCA, they actually push against that connector inside, so you get a nice tight connection on your positive. And then the outside, look for something that's got like a turbine cut or more than just the 4 big gouged openings inside, because those typically don't grip too well. You can get an RCA that grips too tight. Be careful on those. You get them plugged in and then you go to pull them out. You can oftentimes actually pull the female outer part of the RCA out of the amplifier, whatever you're plugged into. So I really don't want to promote a brand. It's just things I'd look for. Turbine cut or a multi-cut outer ground so it gets a good grip on there. Split center pin so you get a nice contact on your positive, and then go from there. And if you're making your own out of all metal, my suggestion would be get you some heat shrink, and when you've got it all soldered up and done, throw some heat shrink on that outside so that that outside is insulated. If you're doing RCA signal, it's not too big of a problem unless that touches 12 volt positive. Then it's a huge problem. You can send 12 volts back up ground and you can fry whatever electronics you got up the stream. But if you're doing high level in, like you can with any kicker amplifier, that is actually going to be the ground of the radio or the ground of the amplifier, and you don't want that touching ground. So that's my best advice on that. Look for those characteristics, and then put some heat shrink around your outside, because you don't want to have that accidentally touching ground. John, I hope I got your Drawzid. Man, I apologize if I got there. I'll call you John D. John D, I'm just asking, what is the new version of the 12s that are round? I'm running some older 12s right now, but I want to run the new Kicker 12s. I can only fit circles in my box, or I'd have the new Solo X. I'm asking, what's the new version of the 12s? Okay, so John, are you asking what the new version of round 12s are that's not Solo Barrick or Solo X or Tim is reaching into his magic pile and he's going to, oh, Q. So yeah, that would be what I would answer. If you're looking for round and you want to know what our top of the line round driver is, it would be the CompQ. And those are available in 10, 12, and 15. So that would be what you'd want to look at as far as in a round. That's our top of the line driver in a round format. And then when you step out of that, since you said you can't do square, it doesn't matter, but you step out of that, you'd be looking at either an L7S or an L7Q, because that would be your next thing. So just looking through here, watching the clock up there to make sure we got enough time to get things done. Yes, blah, 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 breakfast at Tiffany's. Tyson, I showed up late, but I made it. Deviant for life. Wait, why haven't we gotten our weekly whey from Sandy? Well, glad you brought that up. Thanks for reminding me, Deviant. That's awesome, because I forgot. First part of the show, we usually do that back there. Sandy is not on stage tonight. She's actually at home, so she's enjoying her Tuesday night at home. But Jeremy is back in the studio, so we got JW back behind the keyboards taking the place of Sandy. And then, you know, JW, give us your patented scowl look there, Jay. There you go. And then, of course, Bill Frog is back in the studio. And Bill, how are you doing tonight? So Bill, did you enjoy your dinner? Ribbit. So, Bill, I noticed that did you like the soy sauce that you had with your meal? I mean, ribbit? Bill's answer is ribbit to everything, apparently. So, Bill, so Sandy's not here tonight, but look for Sandy. She'll be back. Love having her on the show, but right now we got JW back with his patented scowl, and we got Bill back there. So that's everything going on there. So with that said, folks, real quick, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get an enclosure ready to go. Ernie, if you could, I'd like to show you another thing we got today. It's a short video that our guys in tech training, this is actually Aaron Malin and then Ken Bundy, who works in tech. This is actually a kind of a tech training video on the new CompR enclosures that we've got coming to market. They put together this little training video that's going to be available on KICKER YouTube. And of course, Bill will promote it through the social channels. But Ernie, go ahead and throw that video up, let that roll. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get an enclosure on the table here ready to go. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the KICKER line of enclosures available for you to do behind seat and under seat mounting when you got space as a consideration. So I'll be right back.
The KICKER CompR subwoofer has been updated, refreshed. We've added some new technology, and it has 3 new enclosures. The KICKER CompR has been a workhorse subwoofer for KICKER for many years. We have updated it with some new forced air cooling technology. Forced air cooling improves the subwoofer's already legendary performance and reliability. You'll notice these little holes in the back of the backplate. This is where the forced air cooling technology takes place. The hot air is pushed out over the voice coil and sucks in cool air as the cone is moving. This reduces the voice coil temperature by up to 25%. That means you get loud, KICKER pounding bass for longer periods of time. The polypropylene solo cone is double stitched to the Santoprene surround. Santoprene is a manufactured rubber that has excellent durability qualities and resists fading and cracking due to UV exposure. In addition, the ribs give the cone the ability to flex great distances without adding any acoustic distortion. The spring-loaded push terminals provide a solid grip for up to 8-gauge speaker wire. The CompR 12 you're looking at in this shot will handle as little as 250 watts of RMS power all the way up to 500 watts RMS. As you add more power, you get more output. If you do not have mad box building skills, check out the CompR loaded enclosures. The same team of engineers that designed the CompR subwoofer also designed the CompR enclosures. So what you get is the perfect engineering, the perfect design, perfectly built. With the right woofer, you're guaranteed perfect bass every time. There's a single 12-inch, a dual 10-inch, or a dual 12-inch option. All the enclosures do have a slot port. The back side of the enclosure is slanted. That way, if you're driving a sedan, you can push the box up against the back of the seat and not waste any space between the box and the back of the seat. In addition, the black carpeting is extremely durable and can handle a lot of abuse. And of course, you want to show off your KICKER pride, you've got the stitched logo on the top of the enclosure. The single CompR 12 loaded enclosure handles up to 500 watts RMS. The dual 10 enclosure handles up to 800 watts RMS. And the dual 12 will handle a whopping 1000 watts RMS. If you're not sure which KICKER amplifier to connect to your loaded enclosure, please give us a call or drop us an email. We'll be happy to help you figure it out. The best way to figure out which CompR loaded enclosure is right for you is to visit your authorized KICKER retailer. Drop one of these in your car, hook it up to a KICKER amplifier, and turn up the bass.
Welcome back. Thanks, everyone. That was a video that we actually just got completed today. It goes out onto our training channel on our YouTube feed, and of course it'll be on social. We thought it'd be good to show you guys that video. What's interesting is it actually prompted a lot of questions, like the one I just pulled up here from Alan Brockhoff, and he says, hey, why don't you have pole vents on your woofers? Well, we've had pole vents on our woofers. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. The thing with pole vents is pole vents don't do what you think they do. Pole vents are primarily used to oftentimes relieve back pressure under a cone, and pole vents really don't do a whole lot for cooling, or not as much as you think they do. So for an example, I'm going to hold this up. Maybe Timmy here can get me some close-up shots of this. And I just happen to have it sitting here. This is the back of the new CompRT 6 3/4 inch driver. And as Tim can see there, you can notice there's no pole vent on this driver either. But you'll notice there's 4 evenly spaced holes that sit around, and those holes are actually in the gap. And it's not the number of holes, and it's not the size of holes is a fixed thing. It's how many holes, how big they are, where they're placed, and what our engineers are doing is that they're actually doing this to calculate how much air can we pump back and forth directly over the voice coil to help cool the speaker. And so when Aaron was talking about in that video about the drivers running 20 to 25% cooler, which is depending on the driver we're talking about, that's the range it is this new perimeter back venting, which is our forced air cooling technology, actually makes the drivers run significantly cooler. 20 to 25% cooler is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of thermal that you're getting out of the voice coil. And so the pole vent, don't focus on that as much as being for cooling, guys, because it's really not for cooling. It's for relieving back pressure when you want to. In this case, we don't want a pole vent. We actually want to be able to take all that air that's in there and we want to control it. We want to force it down over the voice coil windings and back up through these perimeter vents to help cool that voice coil. It's just that simple. It's like taking a hot spoonful of soup. If you want to cool it down, you blow air across it. And as you blow that air across that hot soup, it pulls the heat away from the liquid. Same thing's happening here. We are controlling the velocity and quantity of air from the speaker physically moving, and it's pushing that air back and forth across the voice coil. So this is what Aaron was referring to in that video. This is the perimeter cooling, or the forced air cooling that we're talking about. And it's a feature you're going to see incorporated into probably every single driver we do as we do model changes. A lot of our current drivers out in the field right now do have the venting on this, and it's real easy to see. Just look at the back of the speaker. If you see these small holes, there could be 4, there could be 5, there could be 6. It depends on the model of speaker. The engineers have designed it to control that airflow and that air velocity to cool that voice coil down. So hopefully that answered your question there, Alan. There is no pole vent because we want that air trapped up in there under the cap, and we are controlling it by pushing it back and forth across the voice coil for cooling. So hopefully that answered your question there. I just saw that one come up, so I wanted to answer that real fast. Guys, if you have any other good questions come up, throw them up on the screen there for me real quick, and I'll get to them. Has KICKER electric fans on the subs? Oh, sure, that's funny. Hey, Thomas Marshall, Kip, has KICKER ever considered electric fans on the subs? Yes. Next question. Lane Craner. Hey, Lane, how you doing, man? That's Mike Craner's grandson. Good to join us, Lane. What sizes do you have on the sub? Which sub are you talking about there, Lane? Because it could be everything. Some drivers and subs, we make them all the way down to a 6 3/4, like here in the CompRT line. Others, we only go down as small as an 8, and some we stop at a 10, so it depends on the line. But we offer everything from a 6 3/4 all the way up to a 15. Just depends on which line you're looking at. So we do have a lot of different ones in there. Hopefully that answered your question. If you got something more specific, post it in the feed. We'll try to get to it. So with that said, what I'd like to do real quick for you guys, I'll try to put it into a condensed structure here. And the first one I want to talk about, and Ernie, I'm going to bring up a slide. I didn't give you this one earlier, so I'm going to move over to my computer. Thank you, sir. And these are not shipping yet, but these are the new down-firing comp boxes that will be coming very soon from us here at KICKER. We're going to offer those in a 12-inch down-firing and a 10-inch down-firing. They're in 4 ohm impedance, and they're 150 watts RMS power handling. So this is basically our comp woofer, our entry-level comp driver, and it is in a down-firing enclosure that you can utilize for the for bass and a space where you want to have down-firing. Now, the cool part about down-firing, as we've showed this on the show before, is once this is down in your vehicle, you can set your groceries on top of this, you can put your bowling ball on top of this, whatever you need to carry around your vehicle. The sub is protected, it's firing down, it's actually loading into the vehicle. You actually get a little better bass out of the fact that it's down firing into the vehicle. And then this protects the driver. You can use your car as what you need to use it for every day, which is transporting things other than just your audio. Now, as far as size on this, I had Timmy go get me a tape measure so we can just do this stuff live on the air. And this closure here, you're looking, it's right about 23 inches wide. You're looking at it's right about 14.5 inches deep. And then as far as height, we're right at a shade under 8 inches. Looks like maybe 7 7/8, 7 3/4 inches tall. So it's a very compact enclosure. You're going to see some enclosures that are even more compact, and we'll talk about why they're more compact. But this is utilizing just the CompR10 and the CompR12 subwoofers in these. You can see we got the nice kicker embroidery stitch on the front of these. These are all using the same ruggedized black carpet. They wear very well. They go with just about any interior, exterior on a car. And I'll flip it up. You can see the driver is mounted, and we have our terminal cups on the bottom side, wrong side. When you're looking at camera, it's always backwards. And then over here are our spring-loaded binding posts that you can connect your speaker wires up to this. Now these, like I said, are going to be in a 10 and a 12. And just so you know, UMAP on these, you're looking at $149 for the 10, or excuse me, the 12, and $129 for the 10. So these are going to be very economically priced, fully loaded, ready to go enclosures. They're designed and engineered by the guys here in-house, the same guys who designed the woofer, designed the enclosures. Aaron kind of touched on that in the video you saw. But this is going to be available. They're not shipping yet, but will soon. And so for 150 bucks, and then you get just a small amplifier. I mean, you could run this with a key amplifier. You could run this with a small CX amplifier. Just depends on what you want to do. And the cool part about this, the C line of driver, not C, these are the comps. The comp drivers don't take a lot of power to get loud and get noisy. Like I said, they're 150 watts RMS. So with a key amplifier, and these being 4 ohms, you could run one, or you could add another one on there and drop the impedance down to 2 ohms and run 2, and you can do that across the rest of the line in the KICKER amplifier lineup. So it's 4 ohm driver, 150 watts. It's for someone who wants bass in their car, but they want to keep their car. They don't want big amplifiers. They just want some great bass to accentuate either the stock system they have, or maybe they've done an upgrade to a high-powered aftermarket deck, or they got a small 30 to 50 watt amplifier running in the mids and highs, and they're just looking to get that lower register, those bottom octaves of bass that the 6x9s and 6.5s just can't reproduce. Fantastic product, comp down firing, not available yet, but it will be soon, and at a $149 and a $129 price point. So I'm going to pull this off the table. Ernie, will you bring up, this is the night I get a lot of work out. This is going to be fun. Bring up the CompC truck box slide, if you will. Well, I get the CompC truck box up here on the table. And this is, we sell a ton of these enclosures, guys. This is the single 10-inch 2 ohm or the single 10-inch 4 ohm. This is the CompC truck enclosure. And the cool part about these is I want to show you that this is looking from the front. So this is the CompC driver. This is the step-up driver over the Comp. Moves to the yellow stitching, yellow branding, different things done on the driver. I'm going to flip it forward just a little bit. You can see the yellow kicker stitch that comes in the top, CompC. It looks gorgeous. Hope you can see that. And then side profile, you can see this is a very thin enclosure. The port is a slot port that comes out the side bottom there, so in a truck situation behind the seat, it loads in really well. And you're looking at the top, you're only looking right at about 4 inches of depth on the top, and across the bottom, you're looking at 7.5 inches across the bottom. So very compact, wedge shaped, so it can go behind the seat of a truck. Port on this side. Your terminal cup is on the other side, and this is the high-quality spring-loaded binding post that KICKER is known for. You get the wire in there, let it go. It's going to have a nice tight grip. What's cool about this enclosure is the CompC needs a little bigger box than, say, some of the other drivers we're going to talk about. But what we did is on the back. And you can see on the back what we've done is we've actually gone in and put a metal plate. So we've actually cut a hole in the back to get that woofer back as far as we can, and then we've covered up that opening with a metal plate. And that allows us to get this cabinet as shallow as we can and get great bass performance out of this for the consumer or the customer. So these wonderful drivers, they're available in, like I said, the 2 impedances and the TC104 and TC102 thin profile. Either one's not going to matter because they're both the same price. They carry a UMAP of 119. So 119 bucks, ready to go, out the door. This is the CompC loaded enclosure. So if you got a situation where you want to go behind a seat, you can put these in a trunk of a sedan. Any of those situations will work. A lot of people sometimes I've seen them in cars like this. Although if you're going to put in a car and do this, I'd probably recommend getting the downfiring enclosure because it'd be safer for you and safer for the woofer. But trucks, these find a lot of homes in trucks, but I do see them in cars a lot. They're economically priced. They sound fantastic. You don't need big amps to get great sound out of these. So this is the CompC truck enclosure that's right here. And Ernie, while I put this one on the floor, Bring up the slide for the CompVT down firing, if you don't mind. Bring up the CompVT, and I'm going to figure out which one here is the Comp. I got so many, I have more boxes here than I know what to do with. Let me find it here. Oh, there we go. Boy, this is good. Oh man, that is nice. Okay, so this is the CVT. This is the CompVT woofer. And as you can see up on the slide, we offer these in a 10-inch 2 ohm and a 12-inch 2 ohm. So same impedance, but just two different sizes. And I'm actually pulling up my price sheet here so I can talk about prices with these. So just give me a second here, guys, while I look those up. CVT. Okay, CompVT downfiring. Cool part about that, the 12, you're looking at $249.95, and on the 10, you're looking at $229.95. And the one I've got here on the table, I think this is the 10. Let me take a look. Yep, this is the 10. So, Kicker branding on the front. You can see that as well. I'm going to spin it up here so you can see the front side. And then 10-inch CVT driver. Spring-loaded binding posts here on the bottom so you can connect your wire. But you notice how this is very compact. We're looking as far as width on this, you're just right a shade over 19 inches. As far as depth front to back, you're looking just a shade over 13, it's like 13 1/8. And then as far as height, you're looking at an enclosure that's 6 3/8. I'm not even quite 6.5 inches tall. This is a very, very compact enclosure. You're moving into the thin mount woofer technology when you start moving into CVT. This over here is not the CVT, but this is the CompRT that I've got here on my left. I'm actually going to let Timmy get his camera swung around here so he can get a look on it here. And this is just a cutaway to give you an idea. And what our engineers have figured out, and the CVT does the same thing, is we inverted the motor. So normally to get all that travel you need, so a woofer actually has some throw, some X-max, when you start thinning them down, there's nowhere for it to move because you've removed all the motor off the back, anywhere for it to travel. So what our engineers did is they just inverted everything. And so now the motor and all that stuff they need is now up inside the speaker, move everything up a little bit, gets our whole basket shallower, and we still get great bass performance out of that driver. So that's the CVT enclosure, 10 and 12 available. Fantastic. Timmy just reminded me here real quick to let you guys know we got about 15 minutes or less left on tonight's contest. So if you haven't entered, go check that out. Bill will scroll the link. I'll ask him to scroll the link at the bottom. It's kicker.fun/thin-is-in. So go check that out. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. So that is the CVT enclosures. Again, down firing, great for, and you can put these under the rear seat of a truck, so a crew cab truck. These will fit underneath the seat. You can put these in the back of a sedan. You can put them in the back of an SUV, wherever you want to. The cool part about these, they're designed and engineered by Kicker. They sound great. They're not custom, meaning it's not something that's going to fit and take up every nook and cranny of the vehicle space under there. It's not going to be as pretty as an MTI enclosure, and you may not be able to get as many woofers in there because you're not utilizing all the space. But this is a fantastic option for those who go, man, I want bass under my seat, but I don't want to spend so many dollars on my enclosure, this, that, and the other. That's what preloaded enclosures are for. They give you great performance. You give up a little bit of that customization. So these still have great looks, great carpet, fantastic fit and finish. They're all constructed depending on the size of the enclosure. They're either 5/8 on the smaller ones or they're 3/4 inch on the bigger ones. They all have internal bracing, and we're going to talk more about that in just a second. Living Loud with Andy, is the CVT enclosure smaller than the Comp downfiring enclosure? More bass and smaller? Well, Andy, let's just look at that. Since you bring that up, let's do them side by side. Because, hey, it's live. We can do whatever we want. So you can see side by side, this here is the Comp downfiring enclosure, and this is the CVT downfiring enclosure. And as you can see, just looking at them side by side, it's significantly smaller as far as a height footprint. Timmy's moving over to the close-up camera. I'll let him get over there so we can get a shot of that. So you can see significantly smaller in the height footprint. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and set it on top so you can get an idea of the space. So I'll line this up for Tim so he gets a good shot. So there you can see there's a CVT enclosure up on top of the Comp downfiring enclosure. And you can see significantly smaller on the CVT. And yes, the CVT is going to handle more power, and yes, the CVT is going to give you more bass, more of it. It's just a higher end technology woofer, and it's a little more expensive woofer, but this is what you get out of it, is we can shrink the enclosure down, and we can still get great bass performance out of the smaller enclosure. So thanks for asking that question, Andy. That's a good one. And if you guys have any other questions like that, we're here. This is live. If you want to see a comparison or see something, just pop it in here, let Bill or Jeremy throw that up, because we'll bring them up here and talk about it. So that's the CVT. Ernie, if you will, bring up the CompRT truck. I want to do that one first, the CompRT truck enclosure. And that is this one right here. Ernie's slow on the draw tonight. Wow, I'm faster than Ernie. That never happens. So as you can see here in the CompRT, so this is the CWRT, that's our CompRT woofer. The one we just looked at was CVT. This is CompRT. CompRT is the newer woofer, newer technology. And across the screen there you can see we offer this in a 6 3/4 2 ohm, an 8-inch 2 ohm, a 10-inch 2 ohm, and a 12-inch 2 ohm. And I wish, the one I've got here, I think this is the 8, or is this the 10? No, I got the 10 up here, not the 8. I wish I had the 6 3/4 up here to show. Unfortunately, we didn't have one available here in the studio. It is like, you look at it and the word you want to say is cute. It's just so cute. And for those cases where you don't have room for bass, you don't have room to put anything in, but you just want a little bottom end, that 6 3/4 sounds fantastic. And what's cool about these is when you move to the truck boxes, and I'm going to pull the other one out by here by itself so I can pull it off by itself, just off here on the side. As you can see, this is the passive radiator, and this is the CompRT woofer that's in the enclosure. And so here I'm going to give you a side profile view. This is the passive radiator. Now this is the 12-inch passive radiator, so it's not the exact same one in this one. We offer these and make these in an 8, 10, and a 12. The cool part and the reason we use passive radiators, and where these kind of got their start was, you know, go back into the history of Kicker in the legendary days, the original Kicker box was using passive radiators. Ports and passive radiators do the same job. They both tune an enclosure at a specific frequency so that you can utilize the back wave of the woofer, or the back pressure of the cone, to give you more output. It's a little out of phase. That's the way ported and PR, passive radiators, work. But it's typically 180 degrees out of phase, but it accentuates and adds to the output of the driver. That's also why ported cabinets and passive radiator boxes, some people think that they have a longer boom to them or a draw to them, or some people use the word stronger, whereas maybe in a sealed box people use the word tighter. It's because you're getting that accentuated output that's a little behind phase-wise to the main output coming from the front of the driver. But it's how we're utilizing that back wave to drive a drone or a passive radiator, or to drive a port to give you more output. Now, ports and passive radiators, they're the same goal. It's about tuning. But the thing is, in an enclosure this small, with this driver, if we were to try to tune this with a port, the port wouldn't fit the box. The port would be in the box and sticking out of the box, and it would be huge. You can't fit a port at the tuning frequency you want in a design like this. And if you tried to get a port in here, so you start getting this port smaller and smaller and smaller, so as you shrink the size of the port, you get smaller on the port, whether it's a square port or a round port, what happens is your air velocity, the speed of the air going back and forth through the port, increases. And we use 15 to 17 meters per second as kind of a standard. You don't want your air velocity to exceed that, or you start hearing that chuffing, that output. So as you start shrinking the port down, go, okay, hey, I finally got a port that'll fit in this box. It's so small that the tuning's right, but it doesn't sound good, and you got tons of port noise coming along for the ride. So then what do? Well, that's where the passive radiator comes into play. And passive radiators can be played with. The mass of them can be tuned to tune it to the frequency you want, and you don't have any port noise with a passive radiator. So PRs, passive radiators, are actually really, really cool devices, and you're seeing them make a resurgence from Kicker, at least, because it allows us to get great low bass performance in a very, very small, and when I say small, I'll get you a side view of it here. Timmy will get me a side profile here. You're looking at an extremely thin and small enclosure to go behind the seat of your truck. This is the CompRT 10, and as you can see while Timmy's got their close-up on it, the top of the enclosure, you're looking, it is just a shade under 3.5 inches deep, and the bottom of the enclosure, at the wide part, you're looking just a shade over 6 inches. It's extremely compact. It's only 23 inches-ish wide. It might be a little bit more than that, 23, maybe a quarter, 2.5. Hard to measure on the rounded corners to get an exact number. It's right around 23.5. But inside of that, you've got a 10-inch CompRT woofer and a 10-inch tuned passive radiator on here. And with those two in conjunction, you get great sounding deep low bass. This obviously is designed to go behind the seat of your truck, but you can use it in any other environment you want to. You can put these in a sedan, you can put them in a hatchback, you can use these where you want, but more specifically, this is kind of designed to go behind the seat. Now when you look at these, the CompRT enclosures, we already talked about the sizes they're available in. I want to throw the prices to you here real quick. So the CompRT loaded enclosures, and I'm going to start at the 12 and work my way down. So the 12-inch box, you're looking at $299. That's its UMAP pricing, so $300. On the 10, you're looking at $279. On the 8, you're looking at $229, and on the little 6 3/4, you're looking at $169. So $170 for that one there. Full line all the way from 6 3/4 up to a 12. Tuned passive radiators, great low bass performance, great power handling. You can run one, or you can run a pair of them, especially with the newer Kicker amplifiers that are designed to run into a 1 ohm load. You can buy one, you're good to go. Buy another one, add it on, you're also good to go there. So that covers the complete line of CompRT enclosures. And again, passive radiators, it's not that they're magic, it's just they allow you to do some pretty cool things when it comes to box design and get around a lot of the obstacles you may find in a ported design. Oh, and by the way, we sell these separately. I'll pull it out of the price sheet and let you know, but you can buy these passive radiators on their own. So if you were going to pick a CompRT woofer and maybe you're designing your own enclosure into your vehicle and you wanted to get the benefits of using a passive radiator, you can buy these separately and do your own custom enclosure. So that's a good idea if you're a tinker or you like to play. And I'll get those prices for you out of the book here in just a second. So that's the CompRT. Ernie, let's go to the TRTP. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go to the TRTP, which is the CompRT downfiring. So what we've done, the CompRT on the contest, Timmy's back here tapping his watch, let me know, guys, 5 more minutes on the contest for tonight. So if you haven't entered for tonight, go hit that link, kicker.fun/thin is in. That's the link for tonight's contest. You got 5 more minutes there. So if you haven't entered, go hit that. As you know, we'll wrap it up, and right at the end of the show, we'll pull those winners. So thanks for tuning in and watching. Thanks for entering the contest. So the CompRT, this was really the first one we did in that format using the passive radiator and the CWRT woofer. And we had a lot of questions about it and a lot of people asking for, hey, how about a downfiring version? And I agree, because if you want all the benefits of the CompRT woofer and the passive radiator, but you want to put it into a sedan, a hatchback, and SUV, you really don't want or need that slanted behind the seat design. You want something like this. And so this is the downfired enclosure. As you can see, it's got the kicker stitching on the front. It's wrapped in that incredible carpet. I want to get a side profile view of it here with Tim. These have a wonderful side profile. They have a built-in leg that's built into both the sides and the front to keep it up off the ground and get that proper loading that you need for the woofer, because this is firing down into the floor of the vehicle. And I'm going to flip it up. And just like we saw on the other one, you can see here's your passive radiator. And here's your woofer. And of course, right below, and you notice on these we've upgraded. This uses the square spring-loaded binding post. That is a custom tool piece that we have that we use on our higher-end products. We just use the square terminal cups. They're a little cooler looking, kind of neat, but they perform the same. It gets you hook your amplifier up to the enclosure. But these are the TRTP downfirings, and these are available. Ernie, did you bring up the slide on those? Did you already bring that up once? The 12, they're all available in 2 ohm. So you got that, guys. They're all available in 2 ohm impedances. We do a 12, a 10, and an 8, and going from the top down. So the 12-inch, we're looking at $299. The 10-inch, we're looking at $279, and on the 8-inch, we're looking at $249 in the downfiring enclosure. The first time I heard one of these 10-inch downfirings it was a 4Runner, I was blown away with the quantity of good, clean, tight bass that this thing's able to create in an SUV like that. Again, these are musical boxes. This isn't going to be a box you're going to put in your car and you're going to have bass that's going to shake the neighbor's teeth out 3 blocks away. That's not what this enclosure is about. This is about, I listen to music in my vehicle. I want the right amount of music in my car to have the right amount of bass in my car, and I want to enjoy it from my personal taste. This is going to get the job done, and they sound fantastic doing it. It's when you hear the amount of low end that can come out on these enclosures, you're just blown away, because you look at the size of it and you go, there's no way that something that thin and this size footprint can make low bass. And it really makes a ton of low bass. Now, what's really cool about this, and this is the one I wanted to pull up because I was able to get one out of R&D for us to take a look at tonight, and Tim's moving over to the camera so we can get it there. I'm going to put this one down because what I want to show you is one where we lost the woofer. So work with me here because this is going to be a little weird. He's going to zoom in. I'm going to try to show you, but there's some things I want to show you internally that we do. And so this is the same enclosure I just put down, except the woofer's been removed. And so the first thing is, once you notice that the wiring coming out is actually covered in a foam material. And this foam material, this helps prevent the wires from making a slapping sound if they happen to hit the box or they happen to hit the basket of the woofer. This is just for noise control, but it's an extra step we do in there. So these are foam wrapped wires that go up to the speaker. There is polyfill in here. Our engineers work with polyfill and they find the right amount of batting that gets us the frequency response we want. It dampens or damps the output of the whole enclosure with the driver to get the smooth bass response we're looking for. What I've done with this one, hopefully R&D doesn't shoot me, I took it out, set it off the side here, because what I want to show you is these are not just your average everyday box that you just buy. Now, granted, we call this a preload and it comes from KICKER, but there's a lot of things we do inside of this box that is above and beyond what you might see in a lot of preloaded enclosures or empty enclosures you can buy to put woofers in today. So I'm going to try to get a good tilt on this and Timmy can get in here. So what I want to show you is you'll notice that here on the sides with that, you'll notice, get in here, you can see the bracing. I'm actually pointing at the top, but it's down here at the bottom. I'm backwards. So you can see that brace right there and the extra wood that's up in the corners for reinforcement. And I'm going to turn this around, the other way, sorry. And you can see the same thing here on the end. You can see the extra reinforcement here on the end with this board that runs along there to help reinforce the connection joint between the side panel and the top panel. And I'm going to spin the other direction and you can see there's a window brace that runs right down the middle of the box. And I'll point into it right here. It's this brace right here. It's got the holes cut in it. And so that brace right down the middle of the box helps make this a very rigid enclosure. It allows the woofer and the passive radiator to share that entire airspace, but it gives it more strength. And I know you've seen the guys do it, but here here it is. I'm going to put it on the floor. You can literally stand on this thing. You're not going to hurt it at all. And it's because it is built to be extremely rigid. It's got all that internal extra bracing on the sides, on the backs, on the corners, and then like I said, down the middle there, it has that window brace. So these are overbuilt down-firing enclosures, and this is the TRTP. I thought that was really cool to be able to show you guys the inside of one of these so you get an idea of what the inside of these look like. So there's that. Pull it away. And I want to move, get rid of my polyfill. Is there any questions, Jeremy, or any questions, Bill, at this point that need to come up on the screen? What actually tunes it on the passive? Mike Craner, what actually tunes it on the passive radiator? Good question, Mike. So a port, without getting too technical with you guys, but I'll go as technical as you want. A port is actually called a Helmholtz resonator. And even though it looks like it, what you guys may or may not know is that column of air that's inside that port never leaves the port. It's not like your woofer blows all that air out of the port and sucks in all this brand new air. What's happening is that fixed column of air that's in that port resonates back and forth just like this. And of course, the louder you're playing it, the more you're moving your woofer, the more that column of air moves back and forth. And if it's moving back and forth quite a bit, as you can see here, it's possible to grab a piece of paper and suck it back into the cabinet, or something that's in the cabinet get pulled out. But it's simply being pulled back and forth through that moving air column. The air never really exchanges. Okay, so that column of air, the length of it, the volume, and the velocity, well, the velocity doesn't really, but the velocity you don't want to be too fast. But that column moving back and forth is what is your tuning. Okay, this moving back and forth does the same job, but the tuning on this is from the mass or the weight that is applied right here. Now we have done our due diligence on these, and these are mass loaded and weighted to work with the CompRT drivers that we offer on this. Of course, if you're an experimenter, if you're a tinkerer, you could add more mass here if you wanted to, which would lower the resonant frequency of the passive radiator. You can play around to your heart's content, just like you change the length and diameter of the port to change your tuning, you can add mass to a passive radiator to change the frequency where this resonates with the back wave coming off of the speaker that you're using. So hopefully, Mike, that answers your question. The cool part about a passive radiator is you don't have to worry about the rushing air sound or the noise from your port, because there is no port to deal with. You're just dealing with another cone that is tuned at a specific frequency, and it's using the energy from the back of the working driver, the active driver, to drive it. So hopefully that answers your question, Mike. That's a good question. Thank you for asking that. What's the difference? Ashton Snipes. Ashton, what's the difference between these and the TRTP enclosures you've previously shared on the show? TRTP, there is no difference. What I just showed you, as far as that last one where I showed you the insides, that is a TRTP enclosure. That's that's part of the whole model number for that speaker. So anything you've seen on the show previously for TRTP, the last two I just showed you, which was the full enclosure and then the one with the woofer taken out, those are TRTP enclosures. We're just showing you them again, I guess, here on the show in the lineup. 25 hertz to life. Passive radiators sell separately? I want to use some other brands. Okay, 25 hertz, good question. And the answer is yes, and I'm going to tell you what it is here in just a second. You're going to make me look it up, so I am. So on the passive radiators, a 12, we offer them in a 12, a 10, and an 8, just like we do on the loaded enclosures. And the 12-inch passive radiator is $69. The 10-inch passive radiator is $59. And the 8-inch passive radiator is $49. So yes, you can buy those completely separate and experiment to your heart's content with those as well. Understand, we designed them to work with the CompRT drivers, and they pair up really well in the enclosures we've done. But you can use them with other drivers. You can experiment. Again, if you want to add mass to the back to change the tuning of it, you can do that as well. And with you get the drone, there's actually some instructions on the manual to kind of let you know what the tuning is, what they're designed for, and it gives you an idea where to go from there. But PRs, passive radiators, are really cool. When you can't use a port because it's just unrealistic for the box to get the tuning you want, PRs really come in and save the day. And that's what they do on the enclosures we've talked about that have them in there. So with that said, contest over. I think we're out of time. Contest is closed. We will do the drawing for that here in just a little bit. So everyone, thank you for playing on that. Hopefully you got entered. We'll draw the winners on that in just a little bit here and talk about those. So we're going to move on from the CompRT, which is the TRTP, since you brought that up. And that was a good question. Thanks for asking that. We call them CompRT downfires, but TRTP is the model number. We're going to move on to the one everyone asked for. They're like, you do them in round, will you please do them in square? And we said, yes, we will. So Ernie, if you'll bring up the L7T truck enclosure line, that slide you've got back there. Thank you, sir. And as you can see, we offer these in an 8-inch, 2 ohm and 4 ohm. We offer them in a 10-inch, 2 ohm and 4 ohm, and we offer them in a 12-inch, 2 ohm and 4 ohm. And this is the L7T, so this is the thin mount or the thin style L7 driver. So a lot of you may be familiar with the quad box, which has got the 4 L7R12s in it, the big 150 dB quad box. The L7T is the thin mount version of the L7R. We utilize these in these boxes right here. Give you an idea. As far as sizing, Tim's got a close-up cam here. It looks really good. So this is the L7T driver. Look at one end here. You can see that's got the binding post, and this does use the square push terminal binding post on here for connectivity. As far as sizing, across the top, we're looking at 4, let's call it 4.5. And across the bottom, we're looking at, let's call it 7.5. Get you a look from the back. Oh, Ernie's moving the camera on me here. I didn't know where I was going there. Back from the side, back to the other side for a thin profile view, and then of course back around to the front. And so this is basically going to be the thin square mount version for a square subwoofer. When we talked about, you know, the RT behind the seat enclosures by themselves, this is the version using an L7T driver. Because it is a square driver, yes, you get a little more output because it is a square cone. And as everybody is hip to the kicker game, round versus square, typically it's going to be around 20%. Depends on the size of the driver. It could be 18 to high as 23, but it's around 20% more cone area in the square format version versus the round format version. And so we now offer these in the L7T and the enclosures. And as far as pricing on those, starting on the 12s retail for $330 bucks. The 10s are $280. The 8s are $250. So $249. I call it $250. I just rounded it up for you. But that's those right there. That's going to be in the L7T truck line. So all the benefits of being thin, all the benefits of being square for that increased cone area, and a very compact enclosure. Again, that rugged black carpet. These have a little different kicker stitch on them. I'm sure you saw that when Timmy was on the close-up there, but a nice outline border in red with a little bit of black insert there and grayish. Fantastic looking enclosure, great stitching job, and the quality of these, I mean, if you look, Tim, zoom in on the back of this. I know you got the front, but zoom, if you can, zoom in on this right here, like right in here, if you can. And what you guys see is, you know, we put a lot of detail. These are preloaded enclosures, but like this parting line, this seam line that you see right here, that's so that we can tuck the carpet from the top around and in and tuck the carpet from the back and in. It is a completely detailed, awesome looking seam. I'll go out and just say that when it comes to pre-made enclosures, these are some of the best looking ones I think you're going to see on the market. I mean, our engineers do a really good job designing these up. We get them manufactured to our tight tolerances and specs, and they're just good looking boxes. So besides sounding good, they look good while they're doing it. So I'm going to pull this one down. That's the L7Ts. Is there any questions on the L7Ts, Jeremy or Bill? Oh, wait, well, hold on. Here we go. Yeah. Do what?
There was one up.
One up from that?
No, right there.
That one?
No, right there. On the screen. On the screen.
Power handling. Well, I was looking at my screen, not your screen. It's live, folks. It's live. Power handling. So if we go across the board on the power handling, on the ones we just talked about for the L7Ts, we're looking at 600 watts, 500 watts, and 350 watts. So 600 watts on the 12, 500 on the 10, and 350 on the 8. So that's power handling on the L7Ts. The one I thought you were looking, I was looking at my screen. Sorry, Jeremy, I'm looking at my screen and your screen and their screen.
I'm going to take your screen away.
Yeah, I know. I'm just a bad guy. I'm just a bad guy. Just remember, it's going to be a good show. Oh, yeah. Stefan Duro. Hopefully I got your last name right there, Stefan. Do y'all plan on doing an L7T downfiring? You know, Stefan, that is a really, really good question. And I'll be honest with you, we've talked about it. And so will it happen? You know, I'd say if you look at what we've got laid out here and you see with all the different models we have, we sell a lot of preloaded enclosures like this. We really do. It's a big category for us. I would say that a downfiring in the square format's probably coming up. So yeah, I'd say there's one coming, man. And I don't think I'm letting too many cats out of the bag there, but I'll say that. That's funny. For 10, which is better? Which is better? Okay, here, this is a good question. Jerome, which is better, CompRT or Square L7T? Here's what I'll say, Jerome. If you were looking strictly driver to driver, they both share that same inverted, shallow motor structure, optimized for their size and everything. So they have that same technology. So if you're just looking speaker to speaker, you're going to get more cone area out of the L7T. It's got more radiating surface area. So just a 10-inch L7T to a 10-inch RT, yes, you're going to get more output out of the L7T. Now, in the loaded enclosure, and I really wish I could tell you, I've heard this comparison side by side, and we're going to have to fire this up and listen to it in the lab so I can come back and tell you. With the passive radiator, you're probably going to get a little more output from the CompRT round with the passive than you are the L7T by itself in the box. A little more output. You're probably going to get a little more low bass out of the L7T because it's got a little more air volume to work with, if that makes sense to you. So probably overall output, a little more out of the RT size for size. As far as low end extension, probably a little more out of the L7T. But you're looking at that point, you're comparing a CompRT with a passive up against an L7T by itself. So could you use an L7T with a passive? Yes. So draw your own conclusions from that. That handles that. So the next one I want to bring up, so that handles the L7T. I'll just see if there's any more questions here. Are there any more up there, Jeremy?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So what I'm going to do here, and I added this kind of at the last minute of the show. I wanted to bring it on this show because I thought it was a relevant product, even though it's not necessarily thin, but I felt it was a great product to bring up because it's unique. It's different like the rest of these thin mount or downfiring enclosures are. And I added it to the contest. So if you guys win and this is the one you want to choose, you're more than welcome to. I know it's not in the rules and regs that Bill put in, but I added it at the last minute, so I'm including it. And that's the TB8 and the TB10. And I want to grab that. And Ernie, if you want, I've got a slide there if you want to pull that up. Thank you, sir. The TB8 and TB10 are very unique. We offer them in an 8-inch size and a 10-inch size. They come in 2 ohm or 4 ohm, and the entire enclosure is basically, it's made out of extruded polymer. You know, it's a plastic blend, basically, and as you can see, it can be mounted up like this. These are actually metal feet that allow you to mount the driver sitting up vertically, just like you see it here. And it also comes with a carriage system, and I don't have one here I'd show you, I apologize, but you can actually mount it down like this in a locking carriage. So you can mount it horizontally, or you can mount it vertically. And what this is utilizing a CompR driver. So this is not the thin mount RT, this is the full-size CompR driver. So there's a CompR active speaker in one end, and then there's a passive radiator in the other. So this is end number 1. My camera guys tell me to flip it. So this is the active end. So there's your active speaker right there, your CompR 8-inch driver. And then if I do this, hopefully I'm right, or close. I'm not even close at all. There we go, I'm getting better. There is your passive radiator end right there. So these are real unique. They're probably, I don't remember that we actually got an IP certification on these, but if we were, they would be like IP67 rated. This is something that you can put in the back of a Jeep, you can put in an open top vehicle, you could put it in your boat, and you're not gonna have to worry about water or things like that damaging this, because it's a polymer blended extruded plastic enclosure. It's sealed, it's just got a passive radiator on one end and the speaker on the other. And then of course on the side, you've got your spring loaded binding terminals right here, and this is where you can connect your speaker wire. Timmy's coming over for a close-up right there. So there's your spring-loaded terminals right there to connect to. This TB8 sounds really good. No, they're going to be SPL cannons. They're not going to be designed to tear the neighborhood down like we were talking about. But if you want great bass and you've got some odd situations where, you know, water resistance is something you need to worry about, the TB8 and the TB10 definitely ought to be on your short list as far as looking at these. Sound fantastic, great power handling. I'm going to pull the prices up here because I know that's the next thing you're going to know. The 10 is 400 watts. The 8 is 300 watts as far as power handling. And as far as pricing, it's the same for either impedance, so it doesn't matter. So if you're looking at the 10, it's $349, and if you're looking at the 8, it's $299 for the TB. So again, great enclosure. They work great in sedans. They work great in hatchback. The 8, in some cases, can fit underneath the rear seat of some trucks. It can fit into bins. I've seen people, pardon me, I've seen people put them right in the center area in the back of a vehicle, between the left and right side. There's lots of ways you can utilize this driver. And like I said, if moisture resistance is something that you're shopping for, obviously any of these enclosures that we've shown here on the floor are all carpeted wood. And no, I would not recommend any of them for somewhere where you're going to get into a situation where you're going to have to deal with water. But if you are going to be in a situation to deal with water, this right here, the TB8 and the TB10, these are the ones you want to look at. Great sound, great performance, designed to take the weather, and they do it smiling. And the hardware that comes on these is stainless steel hardware. So these legs you see held up there, that is stainless steel hardware that's used to hold those on there. So, and they're unique. I mean, like I said, full vertical mount capability or horizontal mount capability, whichever one you like or need, they will handle the job. Can you win a TB8 or TB10 in the contest tonight? Tony! Tony. Yes. Even though Bill put into the rules and regulations tonight at the top that, you know, it was specific about the category you could choose from, I added the TB category at the very end when we were planning the show. So it's not in the rules and regs, but if you do win tonight and you're the first place winner, besides the ones that are listed, you can choose from a TB8 or a TB10 as your prize. Those are included in the prize giveaway list. And like I said, I had to add the TB8 and 10 because it's not that they're thin mount or necessarily behind the seat. It's just, it's a very unique product, and I felt it was worthwhile putting on this show where we're talking about really unique downfiring and behind seat enclosures that are designed to get you the most bass possible in those very, very small compact enclosures, and sound great doing it. So yes, Tony, TB8s and TB10s, they're on the books. You can choose that if you're the winner. Cabaron, Washington. Hopefully I got that right, Cabaron. Do the passive radiators have a specific power handling capability? The passive radiator really doesn't have a power handling capability. Depending on the tuning, depending on how much volume of airspace you've got in there, how far you're moving the passive. The one thing about a passive radiator, it's not really power handling. It's it can only move so far. So just like the surround and the spider on your speaker can only move so far, their design limitations, the same thing happens with a passive radiator. So you can get it to move too far. You get to move too far too frequently, you might break it. There's no voice coil that goes bad because it's not powered. It's strictly powered off of the rear wave or the pressure wave off the back of the speaker. So as far as power handling, it depends on your box design. You might get to the limit of this. If you were in a very big box tuned very low, you might reach the limit of this with a couple hundred watts. Not that you're overpowering this, it's just that it's going to be moving to the point that it can't move any further. And you go into a smaller enclosure with a little different tuning, you might find you reach that power limit more like the 300 to 500 watt range, which is what the enclosures are. So a good question. There's really not a power handling, it's just how far are you moving it, and that kind of depends on the enclosure design that you're dealing with. So that's something you have to just design and look for and see how it works. Any other good questions? Sean Hubbard, I've missed most of the show, but wanted to thank Kicker. I received my VCVR 12 this weekend. Thank you so much, Kicker. I won this in the original Unmasked. Hey, Sean. We were just covering some of that in Housekeeping at the beginning of the show, talking about what we've shipped and what we haven't. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for watching the original Unmasked, and hope you're enjoying that enclosure. If you get it installed in your car, man, post up some pictures on social, tag it with hashtag Kicker Audio, or even reach directly out to social at kicker.com with what you've got. Send those to Bill. We'd love to get those up on our social and show people how you're enjoying it. So thank you. Thanks, Sean. Jacob Villines, you guys should do an anniversary Kicker Substation series of boxes with the original look and mesh cover. Also bring back the original horse logo, decal, shirts, hats, and hoodies. That's a mouthful, Jacob. That's a lot. 50th anniversary is coming up. I think it's 2 years out. We'll be knocking on our 50th anniversary. You never know from a product standpoint or from a promotional standpoint what we may be offering at that point. Sandy, who was in the show last week, she watches the show. We give her lots of input. All those things you just asked for, those are great ideas. We will definitely pass those along to Sandy. As far as special anniversary products, I think we got some stuff in the pipeline that's going to be pretty exciting. Be really, really excited for you guys to see that. But we're 2 years out. You got to hang on. It's 50th anniversary. It's going to be fun. Anything else in the feed? Yeah, Greg Snyder. Will terminals corrode over time and weather? Greg, yes. Over time and weather, terminals will eventually corrode. Mother Nature has this way of always winning. She is a very strong and very influential person over what she wants to do. We make these to be as durable as we know how. Whether it's stainless steel or things like that. And that's the key there, if you look at it, is stainless. It's not no stain, it's stainless. And that's why you see a lot of people, even with all the expensive hardware they put on their boats, you eventually see that stainless hardware can rust a little bit and even leave some trails on the boat, and you got to clean it. So stainless is just that, stainless. Over time, can they corrode? Yes. We do everything we can with any products we know they're going to be used in an outdoor environment to make those as weather resistant as we know how. But yes, eventually you're going to get into some of those situations, but we make them as durable as we know how. Another question, El Fuego. Kicker has a loaded enclosure for every application. That is what in-house engineering provides to the market. El Fuego, that is correct. We make a lot of preloaded enclosures in-house here, and they are each slotted to address different uses, situations, problems you may come across, where you want to get audio, what you want to do with it. I've had on these TB8s, like I said, guys in Jeeps have used these. I've had guys in boats use these. I've had guys put these on their back patio, and this is their subwoofer for outdoor audio on their back patio. That little bass outside to their KB6000s or whatever's going on in their house. It's a very versatile product. And the other products we talked about, all these loaded enclosures, obviously the behind the seat product, it's really geared for behind the seat. You can put it in the trunk, you can put it in a hatchback, you can put it in an SUV, you can. But if you're going to go into those environments, I really suggest you look really seriously at the downfiring enclosures, because in those environments where you're not stuck behind a seat and you can downfire, you're also going to get that great loading effect of the driver, the woofer, and or the passive radiator, if it's one of those boxes, loading into the physical body of the vehicle, and you're going to get more of that great bass and that feeling that you want inside the vehicle. So yes, they are specific. Look at them, make sure you're buying the one that fits your needs. If you need to go behind the seat, get the one that goes behind the seat. But if you got a way you can downfire, man, I highly recommend you look at the downfire, because that's what it's designed for. Great product. Dennis Zucolato. Hopefully I got that right, Dennis. If not, I apologize in advance. What happened to the powered subwoofer line? Are those still available? Well, Dennis, that's a good question. We didn't put them on tonight's show because it was kind of outside the realm of what we wanted to talk about. But with that said, Ernie, bring up my computer real quick as an asset, if you don't mind. Since he brought that question up, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. So if you go to kicker.com, you can see obviously there is a category called powered subs. I'm just clicking it here so I can show it on my laptop. We currently offer just 2 models in the powered subwoofer line. And I say currently because you never know what's cooking and coming or what we're going to release on Unmasked Live in the future. So just keep that in mind. But currently we do the Hideaway HS10 and we do the Hideaway HS8. You can see it's $299 for the 8 and $349 for the 10. Both of those are a self-contained enclosure that has a built onboard amplifier. As you can see here, I'm going over to the HS10 because I feel it's the more popular one that we look at. They're very thin. They come with a built-in amplifier. It's 180 watts RMS on the HS10. It's 150 watts RMS on the HS8 as far as power goes. They have everything built in. They have high-level inputs. You can take it right into a factory radio. You can take it into an aftermarket deck, whatever you need to. And as you can see, here's the 10, and this is what's kind of interesting. That's why I wanted to bring it up since you asked. You're looking at a box depth. This box is 14 inches from side to side. It's only 3 1/8 inch tall, and it's just a shade under 10 inches deep, 9 7/8. So it's a very compact enclosure with a built-in amplifier. So if you need something that's all in one, ready to go, amplifier built in, and again, I want to stress with these products, understand an HS8 and HS10 is not going to knock the fillings out of your neighbor's teeth. That's not what they're designed for. These are designed, the 8, if you had a factory system, and there are quite a few cars where you can get these enclosures will fit right underneath the front seats. I think the Sonic was one that we took to SEMA or CES to demo the HS8 when we first brought it out. Put it underneath the passenger seat. When you're sitting up in the front of the vehicle for the passenger and the driver, it gives you that extra register of bass that is just not capable from the factory speakers. It sounds good doing it. The HS10 does an even better job of it. That HS10 is a solid performer. It's going to give you great bass if you're looking for bass for you in the vehicle, and if you're trying to match it up to, say, a factory radio, if you got just a factory radio that's just got the 4-speaker setup, no sub, no premium system, the HS8 or HS10 is going to blend in really well with that and just give you that lower register. It's not going to be more bass than the factory system has for mids and highs for it to be balanced. It's going to be a real good sounding system. Or if you just have an aftermarket radio that's high powered and you're just running 4 speakers, it's a great fit for that as well. So powered enclosures, that's what we have to offer, and those are it right there. So with that said, I'm going to scroll down here in the feed. We have winners tonight, don't we, Bill? Yay! Okay, Ernie, bring up the slide real quick that shows what we're giving away tonight. That way I don't have to remember everything. It'd be great for you to just put it on the screen. And I'm going to challenge, there we go, Ernie. So unmasked tonight, we have got the 3rd place and the 2nd place winners. You both are going to get the EB300 wireless earbuds. You're both going to get a set of koozies to keep your beverages nice and cool. And you're going to get a Kicker Unmasked Live gray t-shirt. Now our 1st place winner, grand prize, you're going to get a black Unmasked Live t-shirt. You're going to get a pair of koozies as well. And you're going to get to choose from those enclosures that we have listed on there, plus the TB8 and the TB10, as I've added those to the drawing here at the last minute because I wanted to cover those 2 products in the show. As always, and I'll say this once at the beginning, I'll cap it at the end so I don't have to do each one of these. If you're a winner, we need you to reach out to social@kicker.com. That is the email address to get you right into Bill Frog's inbox. We need you to send us your shipping address, and it cannot be a P.O. box. We need a phone number so that UPS, USPS, DHL, FedEx, or whoever it is, if they can't arrange your delivery or can't find you or need to arrange for another way to get it to you, they can call you. We promise we don't use the number for marketing. We're not going to call you on it. We just need it for the shipping information. And we need you to confirm your shirt size in case you were clicking down through the thing and checking your size and you meant to hit large, you hit medium, so we can get you the right size. So just confirm your shirt size for us. Bill will reach out to the winners tomorrow as well. It's a 2-way street. Feel free to email us if you're the winner and you're on the show tonight and see it. Bill will contact you tomorrow as well. So with that said, number 3, who do we have, Bill? Who's the lucky winner tonight for tuning in? Winner number 3 is Tim A. Oklahoma City. Hey! That is awesome. Oklahoma City. Tim H. from Oklahoma City. You are our 3rd place winner tonight. Thank you for playing. T-shirt and gray's headed your way. A pair of koozies and a set of those fantastic sounding EB300 earbuds. Thank you for tuning in, sir. We sure appreciate it. Hope you enjoy your prize. Winner number 2, Bill. Winner number 2 is Jason C. from Dallas, Texas. Jason, Dallas, Texas, thank you for tuning in tonight. We certainly appreciate it. Hope you got some great information out of this. you're a winner of prize number 2, which means you're in the same boat. You're going to say those EB300s, the t-shirt, and a pair of koozies. Thank you for tuning in tonight, man. We sure appreciate it. And winner number 1, Bill, who do we have tonight? Tonight's final winner is Mike M. from Brighton, Tennessee. I hope I said that right. Brighton, sure looks like Brighton. Brighton, Tennessee. Mike M., you are our grand prize winner tonight. What we got here? Hi-Fi Vega. Y'all check out 12-Volt Talk tomorrow at 7 p.m. We're going to have a guest with a chronic winking condition. I have no idea who that could be. Thanks, Robert. I will be joining Hi-Fi Vega, Robert, and Derek Williston tomorrow on 12-Volt Talk. It's going to be, I think, a really interesting show. They've asked me to come on and talk about a topic that actually got started when we did the Wire show. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's going to be that whole can of worms we opened up. We're going to spill all the rest of them on the table and let them wiggle, because it's going to be a good time. They've posed some questions to me, some challenges I've gotten with our guys in R&D, and we're going to have tomorrow night's going to be a good show too. Yeah. So with that said, thanks for the shout out, Robert. I appreciate it. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thanks to our 3 winners for tonight. Don't forget, hey, we got it. Congrats, everybody. Hey, Christian, thank you. Don't forget, the contest with MTI Acoustics is still in full effect. We don't draw that winner until the first Tuesday next month, so you have until midnight the night before to get in on that contest. If you haven't entered, please go do that. That's going to be a fantastic prize. It's Jim, all the people at MTI. We went over our enclosures. They make some awesome enclosures, and I would love to be the winner of one of those. So lucky you if you can be the winner for that. So be sure you hit that contest. Bill, if you will, throw the link for that up at the bottom of the screen real quick so they can see what that final link is while we're tuning out the show tonight, the entry for the MTI giveaway. Wilson Audio Labs, thanks as always at Kicker. Thank you for tuning in. We sure appreciate it. Hopefully you got something good out of this show tonight. We wanted to do this show right up against the MTI show because it kind of showed you, here's the custom high-end option, and man, if your budget just can't go that far, here's what you can get in a preloaded enclosure to still get you great sound. It's just, not going to be as custom a look, but they still look great and they sound great doing it. And as somebody I watched out in one of the feeds one night said, I think everybody has a budget, just depends on what it is. So if your budget's MTI, man, that's the way to go. If your budget's more this way, these products will handle and get what you need done, get you some great sound into your car. I learned a lot. Thank you, Christian Paley. I'm trying to see the comments as they're throwing them up here. We certainly love you guys tuning in. On the way out the door, if you've enjoyed tonight's show, hit the thumbs up button. If you have any comments about tonight's show, throw it in the feed. More specifically, if you got comments, suggestions about anything on tonight's show, or you want to see something talked about in a future show, social@kicker.com will get you into that box. We look at all those emails. We take it seriously because we want to put content together that covers the Kicker line, covers guests, covers technology, whatever you guys want to know about. We want to talk about it here on this show. And again, like I said, stay tuned because we're going to have a launch party here coming up soon. We're going to talk about products you don't even know anything about. So with that said, it's my pleasure to be the dummy in front of the camera. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got Tim, who's doing a great job back there, bouncing between 3 of them, trying to keep me online and make sure you guys have some great video. We got Ernie, as usual, in the back, and then it's great to have JW, Mr. Jeremy Wynn, back on the screen helping tonight, and Bill Frog back in the house doing social media. All of us, it's our pleasure to thank you for tuning in. For the 200 employees here at Stillwater Designs and Audio, or as you guys know us, Kicker, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe and have fun, and we will see you next Tuesday, 7:30 Central Time, right here on the Kicker Facebook and YouTube channels. It's going to be the Wire Show next week, and it's going to be a good time. See you then. Thanks, everyone.